I am beyond excited to be here again this season for this lovely show that we have. It's summer, it's Leo season, and as usually, I have a lovely friend with me. His name is Patch. Welcome, Patch.
Thank you very
Nice to
much.
see you. Give me your hand. Relax.
Thanks for having me.
Well, yeah. Is this is Patch's first experience into all astrology related. So I think that it's super interesting and beautiful at the same time because we're opening someone's, we're opening someone's like awareness
Totally. Yeah.
of a part of you that you haven't like going into.
Yeah, explored it already.
Yeah. And we do have like these moments in life where we tend to like analyze, explore what are we basically made of, right? We kind of like have that vibe going on around us when through life. I
Yeah,
think,
definitely.
yeah. So first,
Mhm.
I want you to introduce yourself.
Okay.
However you want to introduce it, it's fine. We're gonna go way more deep into you as this thing unfolds. So, but give the everybody else's the basics of what do you think they need to know.
Okay. So my name's Patch, short for Patrick. I grew up in the UK, and I've lived around. So I lived in the UK in Bristol. Grew up in Southampton, lived in Bristol. After that, then Berlin for 6 years, and then Barcelona. And my for money, I am a mathematician. So I work at the university, and hobbies. My biggest thing is music, and now that manifests in radio that I'm very involved in here in Barcelona, Radio Banda Larga, and which is how I met Danny through music and Silver Discos, and this is something that I spend a lot of time doing as well that I really enjoy, and that's I guess the short version.
I love it. Enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna start with Patch's chart. Okay, so Patch's sun is in Aries. Okay, and I think I chose you to be the guest because I wanted to start with the first sign, and Aries is the first sign of the zodiac.
Okay.
It's what starts the wheel. It's fire, and Patch rising sign is Libra, which is Aries opposite,
Interesting.
and your moon is in Taurus, which is another vibe.
Okay.
So let's talk about. I'm gonna give a little overview to your sun. Okay, your sun is in Aries in the house 7.
Okay.
Okay, and we're gonna talk about what is the sun a little bit about. Sun is the biggest shining energy. It gives you where you need to shine in life. And in Aries, in the house of Aries, the sun is exalted. Because planets could be in houses, and sometimes they're in their detriment because they're not comfortable there. It's not that comfortable energy, but there could be exalted.
Okay.
And sun in Aries is exalted because it's basically the Big Bang. First energy, sparkle, and what it means that it's exalted. It means that you can get extra doses of energy naturally from there. Like, and this is like a blessing. It's a reservoir for energy. And so I'm gonna tell you like a little bit of the sign, the house, and the planet. So the planet is kind of like the what, the house is the where, and the sign is the how.
Okay.
Okay. So we're gonna start with like the energy of Aries. So the energy of Aries is the power to start things. You know, the power to be saying I'm alone in this world and I have to create something. So it's entrepreneurial energy, it's I'm alone energy, kind of like here, and also it has the will to initiate all the other archetypes that we're gonna go through. You know, in behalf always, because this is always in behalf of humanity's betterment. You know, we're not gonna talk about here of the B side of, because everything is balanced and we have good and evil everywhere. We're gonna talk about that everything that we express in his pure side, this graceful side, it's about the betterment of humanity. Okay, because people with Aries vibe. I think Hitler was an Aries, so that's why I'm telling you here now. You can go there. Yeah. You can feel alone here. so we're gonna talk about that energy here. Okay. So so Aries likes to create new paradigms and likes to be at service of that. But Aries, your Aries and your Sun is in the house 7, which is the opposite house of the first one. Okay, and it's the Libra house. And this house it's about committed partnerships. You know, the relationships you have for your creativity in this world. So it's all about committed partnerships. So this is why it's the opposite, you know, because Aries is me, Libra, and the 7th house is like us. Us together, but it's like you, me, and like direct. In direct relationship. It's not like, oh, we're everyone here and like we're sharing. No. It's just like, who do I choose to invest on my time and my energy, and who I choose to create with. And like, so that means since your Sun is here in that house of committed partnership, it means that your purpose it's linked to create these relationships. You know, it's meant to be lived by creating these interactions. You know, and kind of like no matter how independent you are, you will always need these kind of interactions to be fulfilled. You know, to be fulfilled and like comfortable. So I want you to tell me what role has, because we're going to talk about like Aries archetype first before going into 7th house things. So I want you to tell me, maybe linked to that or not linked to the 7th house issues, what role has bravery played in your life?
That's interesting. So as a kid, I was sort of very not brave.
Okay.
I mean, like, I don't know. I was scared of everything. Couldn't like leave my mom and stuff like this as a young kid, and I used to hate like crowds and lots of people and stuff like this. And then at some point that just completely switched. It's like my parents find it very curious that now I'm the opposite, in the sense that I seem to sort of, I'm not so scared of things, and I kind of jump headfirst into a lot of things now.
What do you remember at this period of your life some kind of like incident that made you switch?
Not really.
Not particularly?
No. Not particularly. No. I think I tried to become more confident. Like I put some conscious effort into
Okay,
becoming
conscious
more confident.
effort. So
Yeah.
you thought that wasn't kind of like adaptative in the end, you know?
Yeah, it was kind of like.
Were people telling you like, oh, Pat, you should be like really more outgoing?
No, I think it was that it was like a challenge,
Okay.
I guess. Like for
Kind of like a
example,
self-challenge.
yeah, for example, like I did drama in school,
Uh-huh.
and I found it really hard. I
Uh-huh.
found like being on stage, like I mean, it's terrifying. It's terrifying for a lot of people, right? But in a way, like I was really motivated to do it because I found it so terrifying.
Okay.
And then slowly, I got more confident.
What age was this?
Like during my teenage. So I did it even at college. So that's like up to like 16, 17.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Because it was kind of, yeah. I had like I did in the UK school system, you choose just 4 subjects at 16. And I did like maths, further maths, physics.
Yeah.
I did drama to like try and balance it out a bit. But like that process, I think really, yeah, doing drama and in general, just kind of consciously throwing myself into things that I was maybe a bit uncomfortable with. And then realizing that it was never that bad and then sort of gaining the confidence that way.
Yeah, like I was the same. I had an experience. I was super shy. And then I had a little experience in my life with a cousin that she said something to me.
I know.
And she triggered this thing of like, yeah, what are you doing? It's not that terrible.
Yeah.
You know? People are not that, people don't want to eat you or something.
Yeah.
And I instantly as a shift.
Yeah.
So that was why I asked you if there was like a moment.
Yeah, I don't think a particular moment, but those years definitely like, yeah.
Maybe it will come up.
Yeah,
maybe the moment will come up later in your life. That
also
happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so for example, this is another Aries trait that we tend to be very impatient sometimes. You know.
Yeah.
In some areas, maybe. So, but I want you to tell me, how do you deal with the think before act kind of like issue? Have you had like periods of time or like maybe a base structure that you're like, maybe I do things first and then I think about what I did? Tell me about it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I don't know. I remember also, when I was young, maybe having those kind of fears and also being a bit, just immature and not really necessarily thinking so much about consequences of my actions and then feeling bad about it and stuff like this. But as an adult, not so much. I think I guess I don't, I do tend to think before I act. Yeah, I'm not so impulsive.
But for example, like, let's put it, because I've noticed this in myself. Because we all, like, as like a conditioning, tend to overthink a little. You know? But like, we're in the comfort of our own homes. And for example, you need to like pick something up or like fix something. Some people go through all the instruction manual. And some people are like, no, just grab it and like see how it works. Where you are there.
I think I dive in.
I dive in immediately. And see, then it's like, see if I need more extra help. Right?
Exactly.
Were you clumsy when you were little?
Yes. But I guess not particularly.
Okay.
I mean, I would get like, I would do some stupid stuff, like jumping on a bed. I cracked my head open after jumping on a bed and hit a radiator. And, so I mean, it was probably like a bit of a nightmare.
So, I want to know, for example, because like Aries and the Sun here tells us a lot about the energy that you have. So, in your current life or in general, what do you do, or what do you see yourself doing when you're most energized?
Yeah.
Like oh, it can be taken the other way. What do you what makes you feel most energized?
Yeah.
Is it in consequence? Tell us about that.
Yeah. So I think I've thought about this like
Mm-hmm.
a little bit when people
Okay.
talk about like introverts and extroverts, right?
Okay.
And I can't remember which way around I thought I was, but essentially I get a lot of energy from other people.
Yeah.
And yeah, so like the reason why, for example, I like DJing and that kind of hobby is partly because of the music and stuff, but it's also very much because it's like a social thing.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy hanging out with my friends, but also meeting new people through those experiences. And yeah, but I mean, that's like really, I think I do have the contrast because I also am very happy to spend like my work is pretty solitary. I mean, we work with other people, but I'm happy to like spend a day by myself at work in my own head.
Yeah.
But then to balance that out, like I then want to be social.
Yeah, you kind of like balance it in the both.
Yeah,
in,
bit of
in
both.
both extremes, you know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do definitely get energy from people.
Yeah, but definitely, big part of your activity is super social. In the radio, you know.
Yeah.
And like all the energy that you have moved, you know, by doing so, it just shows how much energized you feel about it.
Yeah. I mean.
Yeah, definitely.
That's like.
Yeah.
Always for a long time. That's been like a thing that I've noticed that I want to do more.
So in the end, for example, do you feel like you cool off when you're in solitary? Or it's another part. Like, what makes you feel like, for example, oh, you say I need to cool off a little bit of like.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Yeah. I mean, nowadays, just like, yeah, just watch TV, and I mean, I have those days. Like, I do a lot, and then every now and then I need some time to just do nothing. Yeah.
Okay.
But like, I mean, nowadays that solitariness is like with Giselle, my partner. And I think she's quite similar to me. Like, we're both social, so we don't. I mean, we do that, but not so often. I guess not as much as other people.
So, for example, Aries, it's very linked also to be warrior-like. It's warrior-like energy. So, for example, do you see sometimes things as like a battle? You know, or have you have this tendency to be like kind of like a little bit competitive?
Yeah, definitely. I think less so nowadays. I think.
Well, one learns to compete with oneself anyway.
Yeah, right. But I used to, for example, I used to be very intense about like grades and doing well, and like especially at, I guess, university. I just really wanted to be good.
Okay.
And so I would like, you know, do very long hours and stuff like this. And it would be like a personal challenge to really get like top grades and stuff.
But that was because, for example, you like go back to your old self, and was it that because you felt that you needed to get somewhere, or it's because for the pure like joy of getting, you know, the feedback?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a bit of both. It's like the feedback, I think, is something that I do. I don't know. It's something. It's nice to sort of know that you're doing well and have like long-term goals. And it's if you see this kind of developing. And in fact, I mean, I still have that to some extent. Like the world I'm in academia is like super competitive. You're constantly. It's not exams anymore, but it's constantly like getting papers in good journals. This kind of thing is very like. Jumping through hoops and constantly fighting for this validation.
Yeah. No, I remember. I this is one of the things that I never liked.
Yeah.
And it made me realize I wasn't so passionate about what I do for a living.
Uh-huh.
Basically, when I was in university, I
Yeah.
was like,
Why is
why
it
do these
so-
people take
Mm.
this journal stuff so serious?
Yeah.
Like, um, and I know it's because like you're passionate,
Yeah.
or like it's the thing you like the most. So if you're still, for example, in that area in university, how you deal with it now?
Yeah. So I think
When
I've,
you see
I've
people
chilled
like
out
kind
a
of
lot.
like a little obsessed with this thing,
Right, and
how do you deal with it?
I think everyone kind of has it to some extent in like this level of academia because you kind of need it. But I think I don't know. I've definitely become more accepting of like not being the best.
Yeah.
Which is like
which is
normal, right?
Which
And
is
it,
normal.
like,
Yeah, it's
there's
healthy.
just no way- yeah,
it's not normal.
exactly.
It's healthy.
Yeah.
It's healthy. I think it's healthy.
Definitely.
You know, because
Yeah, and I think like I've seen now like I guess I've got like role models of professors that are super chill,
because they got it.
and they're great. I mean, they're like
Yeah.
very well respected, but they're not.
But you work with students, right?
Also, yeah.
How do you see this energy on the student?
Yeah, no, there's a
So
lot
like,
of students.
do
as
you?
well.
I mean, do you take advantage of it, or do
Yeah.
you tell them to calm down? Basically,
Yeah, it's a bit of both. It's a bit of both.
It's a little bit of both.
Yeah, because I mean, I think it's some drive is good, but you don't
Yeah.
want them to. You don't want it to like
to lose their
Yeah.
sanity.
And
Basically.
and at the end of the day, it's it is important, but there's other aspects of life that are important as well.
I think, for example, that this kind of like, being an overachiever
Yeah.
that you might get exposed to in like the university stuff, it's very dangerous.
Yeah, no,
it's very dangerous.
And a lot of people crack
and I think that it's something that the role of a teacher in that academia it's, nowadays is more to like
realize
not stimulate
Put
this
that
thing.
pressure,
Because like
totally.
for example, the head of the school will always validate himself putting the school in the first place of whoever ranking or whatever ranking. Delusionally somewhere else, you know. And you can go into that because people are usually kind of like conditioned like Pavlov's dog, you know, like reward and task,
right.
reward. It's kind of like, I know. I think the evolve of humanity needs to change a little bit.
Totally,
you know.
And I mean, you realize like when you're a kid at university, even like at that time, it feels so important. And then when you're a bit older, you look back and you're like, it really wouldn't have mattered if I.
Yeah, but like, what if someone came at that time in
and
your
told
life
you,
and told you that kind of like, listen, I'm gonna sit with you and tell you this. I'm not gonna let you all like burn. But I think in the end, it's just because not everybody has the capacity to express this language, you know, because like it's kind of like a subtle thing that you need to realize on your own also. And
but I think it's the thing about environment as well, and like if you create an environment that's friendly and like I said, like role models, and I think, for example, one thing I really love about Barcelona is at the university there's a kind of a good environment.
Okay.
It's better than other universities I've been in.
Good.
You know?
Good. It's the weather.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the weather. And the party every weekend. I don't know. Maybe that's too. You know. Yeah. Well, there's an archetypal thing to each country anyway. Yeah. So, questions of seventh house related. You know. So I put here, what partnerships have been important in the unfolding of your life's purpose? Specifically, you know, what can you like draw in?
Yeah, so I think, I mean, my impression is this house is about relationships, right?
Yeah.
And like
it's about the other.
The other,
and it's about the other and the balance that the other puts in you and how you balance your inner with the outer. So really, it's the scale basically. The base of the scale is your inner self. On one point, like, where do I stand here? What do I give versus what do I get?
Yeah.
It's kind of like an exchanging thing.
Right.
It's also not because like the scale is kind of like this old scale, so it's basically it's very easy for this area of life to get unbalanced.
Right.
Because balance is everything. It's and also balance is hard to get.
Oh yeah.
So for example, the challenge of this house for the sun people who has the sun here like you is to not become basically a people pleaser.
Yeah.
And to keep grounded in yourself, in what you feel like. Because and I want you to tell me, we're gonna talk about this both sides, you know? We're gonna talk about if you recall that partnerships that have been pivotal in your way of expressing yourself.
Yeah.
Tell me about that first.
Yeah. So I think so I can see it quite clearly, like in what I do for hobbies.
Okay.
And like already quite young. I mean, probably before this, but sort of seriously getting involved in like music and stuff, having at university, and I sort of became. So I was in charge of a group called Bristol Reggae Society. They got kind of handed down to me, and I did a lot of events through this, and like, but it was kind of, I mean, there was a team of us, but I was sort of pushing it at the time. And then when I went to Berlin, also there was like a group of us that put on reggae events, and again I was like really pushing it, and it was, I mean, I was always happy to do that because it like gave me joy to put on these events to bring people together, but it was always tiring, like, and at some point I realized that it needed to be more collaborative. And then the radio now, like, it's been a real journey for me to kind of put energy in, push it, but also rely on other people and like, and give up some bits, or like large bits. I mean, we really share so much. There's too much work for any one person, so it's like really shared. And this has been like amazing for me to be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, this is the essence of what we were talking about, because you said that the first thing that when you said I got handed this responsibility. So that is totally tuned with how the rising gets unfolded, because it's about other people's perspective. It's how they see you. So you got hand things because other people think that you express this energy of, oh, I'm gonna take care of this. You know, it's not conscious to you that you can, you know, be this person. You know, but society informs you. So that's why it's an awakening. You know, that's why it's an awakening. And through you kept repeating the pattern because you exercised it once and you saw that you were good at it. And you repeated it, and then you, because first is the side of, oh, I can do this, and then you realize, but I cannot do this like alone. You know, and I cannot like overcharge myself with all these things. Even though I think I'm good at it, I need like other people involved. So you basically said that now you understood that that's the balance. That is the balance, you know. So I'm pretty sure that that takes us to the other side of it, like how. And I actually wrote that, you know, here. For example, what kind of like feedback
Mm.
do you get from the other in related to this way of doing things that you have? You know?
Yeah. Again, I guess
When you for example put them together to work with you.
Yeah. I think it's
How do they organize them?
It's so I used to also be like very reliant on like gauging success via kind of things that you can see and like so like how many people come to your event.
Yeah.
I mean that's like a classic one, and it it completely varies. So like I've done events that have been like sold out and stuff, and I've done events that have been super quiet, and like over time I get like I'm more chilled about that.
Okay.
Like I put less emphasis on it in my head. And
but it's not about yourself, basically.
Yeah, because it's not about exactly, and it's also, I mean, it's not necessarily the best way to judge how you're doing. Right?
Yeah.
It's like there's other things that are important when you kind of try and do these these things, and
Perfect.
and it's so I think now, especially with the radio, it's like it's less about that and more about seeing the thing grow and like more
the process.
Yeah, the process and just like even just having one person who comes and says that they enjoy it and that it benefits them and stuff is always nice. Yeah.
Great. So okay. So for example, to conclude a little bit about the seventh house issues, I want to know what advice would you give to someone who is someone in this area of like, I manage something that needs to thrive, needs committed relationships.
Yeah.
What would your advice for them?
I think the main thing that is to like not take on too much yourself, like to share. To share in every aspect of it.
Okay.
And it's a super hard thing to do, especially if you're a perfectionist or like you have an idea of how you want things to be done. To be able to let go of that and share that responsibility, but also that is something hard to do, but it's super rewarding.
How do you manage it?
I think just letting go of it. Like again, it's sort of like a bravery thing of. It takes some courage also to just let go a little bit and like and maybe like maybe not everything will run smoothly, but that's okay. Yeah. And to be able to sort of realize that it's not such a big deal, and that it can still be good, even if you're not controlling everything. It can be better.
Yeah, and I think, for example, that sometimes you, for example, know you have to do something, and for example, that you need to share it with other people to get their input. Yeah. And then after that, you're gonna go through like a conclusion of how it's gonna be executed. Yeah. So, for example, that process, it's the one that takes patience. Yeah, because you have to put it out,
right, and it's gonna be slower.
Energy, it's gonna be slower,
And there's like a thing of like it takes time. Like I've sort of through the radio again had a lot of practice, just like mentoring other people to then be able to do things that I do. Whether that's like the tech side or like events, even because I've got experience in that, and I know that like for a given event, it might be quicker if I do everything, but it's worth like doing it with someone else to show them or to get their input and stuff. And then like once you do that a couple of times, then suddenly you have loads of people who can help, and it's like everything becomes more powerful with more people. That's like that's also what I've learned.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. And I think that lesson is one of the biggest lessons in life for everyone. Yeah. Because I think it's the hardest thing to do. And also I think that's why, for example, Libra rules balance, and that's why balance is everything. Because when you need to get there, you need like the weight to be like this internal, external thing. On a same level.
Totally.
On a same level, basically. How's your internal like needs met by the outside world?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So we're gonna go to your rising. We're gonna connect it with, because your rising is the first house. And the first house is the self. It's like it's everything about you.
This is
Aries. It's the house of Aries. We were talking about your sun, which is Aries, which is in the seventh house, the house of Libra.
Yeah.
You have like incredibly, like, I mean, you have the sun in the house Aries is least comfortable, basically.
Okay.
Like, because like Aries about the me.
Yeah.
That's in the house of us.
Yeah.
So that's why this sun energy, where you need to shine, has been your biggest issue in life.
Yeah.
Because he's not comfortable there. And but it also has come out by itself. It has come out by itself. So I think in the end, all of these things are, well, best learned in, I don't know, how can I put it? Like, you can have blessings that are given to you that you don't even have to think about. But there are also blessings that comes with the work you do. Because, and that's the beauty of it. No one has the full package. We all have to go through some shifts in order to shine our light. So your sun is telling you, you shine your light with other, but with this style of being brave and being visionary. With Aries, it's visionary. But you are perceived in your rising sign, because the rising sign, actually, for example, the rising sign holds the clue to the soul's incarnational intention.
Okay.
So we're gonna unpack your soul's incarnational intention. I mean, you came from somewhere. You were put into this world, and you have to exercise an intention whether you were put here. And this is your rising sign.
Okay.
Because you get informed by your surroundings of that. Same when you got handed, for example, the Bristol reggae music, there was the outside telling you, we see you as this, and you got, there was the other's energy guiding you. So this is like what the rising is about. And you have this handed to you because your rising is in Libra, and Libra is ruled by that house we were talking about of the connection. But you have a Libra here in your first house, which is like the sign of the self. So you kind of like express yourself as this diplomat person. People see you as very patient, for example, that you can like be basically diplomat, basically a social butterfly. Someone who likes harmony, who's not conflictive when it's in society. Who doesn't like conflict. So yeah. So for example, that's the rising sign. It's the style, the sign that it's in this house of the rising, which is the first house, is the style that you will find your way through this experience, and that is how you find your way, the Libra way that we just talked about. So does it resonate a little bit with how you see how we believe informed you? It's like, for example, do you feel driven to create, for example, justice, beauty, connection between people? Do you feel driven by that?
Definitely, yeah. I think like the a major motivation is always to kind of do good. I mean, like bring people together and make people happy. And definitely I'm kind of averse to conflict. I want everyone to get along.
Okay. So is it difficult for you to do things that you think might disappoint others?
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I try to avoid doing things like this.
Have you been confronted with having to, step in sometimes and...
Right, yeah. Right, definitely. I mean, that's also something that I feel like I'm getting better at, is being able to kind of manage some level of conflict, which is somehow necessary to grow, and like, especially with an organization like radio, you have to have some conflict, or like some people have different ideas of things. So at some point you have to make decisions and also to let people down, and that's always a bit tricky. Like we have a very like, for example, this is something that we're still
samples
learning.
Are good.
But like we really care about our DJs and wanting to be very fair in terms of opportunities, and so we think a lot. I say we because it's me, but it's you. Really it's like many of us involved. But we really think a lot about how to share these opportunities and making sure that people get the platform and like that it's somehow fair, right? And my feeling is like, no matter how much we do this, there's always going to be someone who maybe feels like they're
left out
or didn't, or are unfairly treated.
And what do you think like the reason
for that?
Yeah, because I have a clear idea of why that is. I want to know your side.
Yeah, I think it's somehow inevitable. Also because there's just not unlimited opportunities, right? So we get some opportunities every now and then, and we try and give them out fairly, and we try and give people equal opportunities. But I mean, it's true that probably some people have had more opportunities than others. But the ambition, at least for me, what's important is that we have the ambition to be fair, and we'll listen to people if they, feel like they're not getting the chances. But yeah, I think it's somehow inevitable, and there's maybe like, it's also I don't know, it's never gonna be perfect.
Okay.
And I kind of accept.
I see that you don't want to say why is it. I know.
No, I mean, there's
like you're so diplomat.
No, there's also there's ego involved.
Okay,
sure.
Good that you said it. Good
there's ego involved sometimes, but it's
but like everyone who, I think if you put yourself on display, somehow, and you have to deal with that. We all have to deal with that ego. But basically, if you're giving an opportunity, however opportunity it is, you should be grateful for it.
Right.
You try your best, and not to think about, like, not to be on default mode on why can't I be what, Yeah. It's kind of, and I think that's what you say. It's like it's the difficult part to deal with, because like you try your best. You say you try your best to give justice and fairness. So if you put time and energy into create this justice and this fairness, why are some people not noticing
seeing
it,
it,
not
yeah,
seeing it, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
And that I think that should inform you
Yeah.
who are people you want to collaborate and who are people you don't want to collaborate with.
Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
the end, I think
No, and I mean, like,
because you know you're doing the effort.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And honestly, we like, this is something we've been super lucky with in general. Like the DJs that we have, partly because I think we also have some sort of screening process,
Yeah,
especially
for
now
sure,
because there's
sure.
not there's also
Like
limited
everything,
space.
like everything, yeah.
But we have like I think it's a really good group, and the music world is full of ego, which I find sometimes it can be too much. Yeah, the world as well. But like when you meet these, like I don't know, you get, especially also in cities that are, like Berlin is crazy for it. But like everyone's like looking out for themselves, and it can become something that's not actually that social because people are so absorbed. And I think here, thankfully, we've had a really like, I mean, partly also because this is the whole ethos of the radio is like, it's a platform for you and your personal projects, but it's also a voluntary, like everyone helps out. So, and that's
community.
Kind of, it's a community and it has to be that. Otherwise it can't run. So it's kind of, we've been super lucky with that, which makes life easier for me.
Okay. Well, that my next question was kind of like on the same vibe too, because like I put here, how do you manage the waiting, what do you need to do against what others want you to do, or want from you? You know, how do you manage that? All this weight.
Yeah, I think.
In every sense, you know, not just your radio, like
no, just a lot.
Like the energy of like, because I see it as this thing. Also, I wake up with X energy, and I need to go to bed with X+1. So I need to go to bed inspired,
right?
Having exchanged energy, you know. So all the relational things in general take away energy from you.
Sure, yeah.
So how do I manage that?
Yeah, I think it's somehow I set expectations more and more.
Yeah.
I mean, that I'm not gonna be able to do as much as I could. I mean, like there have been times where I've taken on too much, and I've realized it, and it's been too like a stress.
Okay.
But I don't know. I also thrive a bit off that, so it's always a bit of a For example, like with events, anyone that does events, it's gonna be like it's gonna be a stress at some point. Like there's no way of avoiding that. But that is for some people that gives them energy. And like,
definitely.
And they react well to that.
I agree. I agree. Perfect.
But I guess I take time also off. So I do something maybe like some big event or some there's a period it's also with work or whatever that's super busy, and I realize that and I'll get it done, but then I'll make sure that I have time to recover and
good balance it out.
Okay,
so we're going to go now to the house of your ascendant, your rising signs ruler. Okay, because the house in which you're the ruler of Libra gives you which area of life you've been steered toward to express this energy best.
Okay.
The energy of the rising sign. So in your particular chart, this is house 6. You know?
Okay.
And house 6 deals with all matters of work, daily routines, habits, health, physical health. You know? And well, also pets. That's fine. Because the pets needs routine. So for example, the ruler of Libra is Venus. And your Venus is in this house.
Okay.
and also your Mercury is in this house.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna talk about Venus first in the sixth house,
Mm-hmm.
and this is the planet of beauty. It's the planet of love. It's the planet of relational things. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and so it says to me, since and Venus is like you know the sign before that, before I forget, you have in this sixth house
Mm-hmm.
as a sign Pisces.
Okay.
Okay, so Pisces is the costume that you wear in this area of life with the energy of Venus here.
Uh-huh.
And Pisces is all about illusion.
Mm-hmm.
It's about dreaming. It's about the merging of the souls, you know, and being an empath in general. So trying to first connect all the time, but on a soul level, you know, and the other, because there these two little fishes, you know, one goes this way and goes the other one. So the one that goes one way is saying you all connect, merge, go to the source, you know, of everything, and the other one is saying you what, don't forget that you have your own goals, your own dreams, you know, and they are very personal and very pure, and you're supposed to like get them through.
Yeah.
And people that don't get that, for example, that have this Pisces energy, tend to avoid everything basically. They going through the like, oh, I don't want to know about anything. They're usually very into drugs and alcohol sometimes, or other escapism forms, you know,
Right.
if they don't get these two directions. So they're very like evasive in general. So you got this energy in the most practical the most practical house basically, which is one of the most practical house, like daily habits, routine work. So Venus here gives you this sense of like, my purpose is to be lived like daily.
Yeah. Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
Do you feel that?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I mean, yeah, it's sort of a weird.
It's very contrasting information.
It's quite contrasting. Yeah. But I do see it. I mean,
because you said to me, for example, on the mathematics thing.
Yeah.
You tend to be very alone.
Yeah, I work by myself.
You work by yourself, and for example, like I wanna ask you on that area of your life. Are you still comfortable there?
Yeah. So it's like I mean, that's for me like a creativity, which is I think a lot of people find surprising, but it's when I'm like, it's like creativity and also like a meditation.
Yeah.
So like if I'm like thinking about a maths problem, really when I get in the zone, which is not all the time because there's like other stuff to do.
Yeah.
But, when I finally do, it's like a whole day can just pass, or afternoon can just pass like this, because it's like I'm just in the zone. I'm thinking about this really specific thing, and I enjoy that. That's kind of like a time off in a way for me. I mean, that's like time just focusing on something very, and I get a lot of joy from that. And in general, I think I just what you said about like, so the routine and the almost admin of this house,
because Pisces here can make your routine very foggy.
Yeah.
Like I want to have like a daily specific routine.
Yeah. Just to like
it works for me the other way.
Yeah. For me, it's like, I mean, I just like I'm
you lose yourself easily.
Yeah, and I'm quite well. Yeah, I lose myself in what I'm doing, and I'm quite like productive in or I always want to be productive. I mean, I'm not necessarily am always productive, but like
your intention.
My intention is to be productive, and a lot of this, like a lot of my hobbies, in the end are kind of like work things. Like, I mean, organizing stuff.
I know.
Kind of like
I know. We're gonna
work,
see.
Right?
This why your hobbies are kind of work.
Yeah.
It's on your chart also. We're gonna see it. Yeah. And I'll explain it to you why I see there.
Yeah.
So, well, for example, like, I mean, do you feel, for example, in this sixth house matters? Do you feel like balance in this area is like kind of like a struggle?
Yeah, I think I'm constantly like wanting to do more, wanting to be productive.
Okay.
Maybe like get annoyed when I procrastinate.
So
it's always a bit of and I need like pressure. Really.
Okay.
I work well.
You work well with pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which it's just always been the case. Like I don't know how to really, but like, yeah. So when I have pressure, I can do a lot. Without pressure, I struggle to do much. But like, I put myself in positions where I create pressure in order to do things.
Do you think this is something that might, or you could eventually, for example, manage to avoid eventually?
Yeah, I think I'm better now at like at judging also the right amount of pressure. I mean, yeah, I say that. I don't know. It's hard.
Yeah, I know. It's just, that's why I asked it. It's that struggle because like
it's a struggle.
It is a struggle.
Yeah, and I think I'm bad at like so if I see myself succeeding, having for example like with work, I have to give talks quite often, and I used to spend like a week preparing a talk, practicing it in the mirror, and now I spend like I don't know an hour or two. Like it's really gone. Like I'll do it the night before, which isn't ideal because you know like I'm it's coming really close to a deadline, and it's and that pressure is like, oh my god, what if I can't do it? But I kind of know in the back of my head that I will be. Because of that pressure.
Experience has informed you also.
Yeah. And it is possible, but it's never like I've never been one of those people that can just do stuff like weeks ahead and just not have that pressure. Somehow that's always been the way I operate. Yeah.
So also the other planet that is here in your sixth house, it's the planet that it's Mercury. So if we said Venus, because Venus in that house, in basically Venus where Pisces is exalted. So everything beautiful about what you do and balancing and creative, it's natural to you. Okay, but Mercury in Pisces, Mercury is the mind, the analytical, part of you. Mercury in Pisces is what you were describing, because basically Mercury is not happy in a place where the lines are blurred. Because Mercury wants to be precise, especially with words.
Yeah.
And in a place where you're gonna express it like very foggily, it's not comfortable. But that gives you you have kind of like go through this challenge of being more put into words and express more clearly what you need to express clearly. But also Mercury in Pisces, it's very poetic. So for example, it says to me that a really good way to exercise your communication skills at your work is through poetry. It's through the translation of a big idea, not more on the specifics and the details.
Right.
So for example, if you have to give math lessons, you know where you're trying to come across with a whole problem. So how do you feel? Does it resonate? Because it's kind of like what music tries to do also. Music tries to give a feeling through just a bunch of frequencies. And you get a sense of something. with it, you know. So I don't know. I feel that have you do you think, for example, that this could be a thing that music for you it's the way you express best your what you want to say or what you want to make people to feel?
Yeah, I think definitely music. Like
It could be your kind of like your best language.
yeah, exactly. I feel like more like creative. I don't know. Like so I resonate a lot with music and it like the moods and everything that it gives me. So I kind of I really enjoy sharing that experience. So like as a I don't make music and I don't like
you're a channel for it.
Yeah, as a DJ it's for me it's all about like collecting it and sharing it. And that's and I really enjoy that process.
So what okay, but in what zone are you when you're playing music for people?
Yeah, it really depends. Like so like there's parties and like I enjoy to make people dance and stuff. But as much also like with radio, I can play stuff that's not really for partying, but just like for listening at home and yeah, it's kind of I try to sort of introduce people to new stuff. Is mainly the aim, like to try and choose things that will resonate with me and that will hopefully resonate with others. And for example, like for a long time now, like if I'm not seeing a friend on their birthday, I'll send them a tune. This is like a gift. Yeah, I see it as a gift, and especially if it's a friend that I know their music taste, and I can pick something that they haven't heard before. Then they're like, this is. I like that. This is my.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's like, it's those are the best gifts. For me. Those are the best gifts for me. So, for example, so it with this Venus and Mercury thing, I wrote here some kind of advice for you.
Okay.
Because it just popped,
Yeah, go.
And it says, those with relationship wounds will often make you their savior. Object of affection or obsession. Have you felt that?
It's a good question. So
have you felt that energy put into you?
So from others, you mean?
Yeah, from others.
Yeah. Maybe.
It kind of like it kind of like resonates better if I say to you, for example, have you been targeted by like energetic parasites, for example? You know, like a lot. That you have to like put boundaries to it. Maybe.
Yeah. No, not so much. I think like I think a lot of friends. I like to think, and I have definitely experienced a bit that I'm sort of someone that people can talk to, especially if friends, if they're like, if they're going through something, or then I'm always there, and like, I guess a calming effect, hopefully. But yeah, in terms of like people that are taking advantage, I don't think so. No.
I think it's if someone is taking advantage or not, it's for you to decide.
Yeah, sure.
Like you can sense if you're being drained or not.
Yeah.
That's your, am I being drained here?
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for example, we're gonna go to house 4.
Okay.
You go to house 4 because you have also a lot of energy here.
Okay.
Yeah. House 4 deals with home.
Okay.
Ancestry. Family. And current and past. Community. Related a little bit with the concept of home.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay.
I need to like. Yeah, I want to have a community where I am, man. And yeah, so I have that in Barcelona
Yeah,
for sure.
sure.
And
Good.
that's important to me.
Mhm.
Like when I came here, I looked for that, and made that happen.
Okay. So for example, uh, going through the you also have um, the north node of your
Okay.
chart
Mhm.
in this house.
Okay.
Okay. So basically, the north node in a chart is important. I think, and I think I will do a little area of these interviews where I single it out and we analyze it a little bit
Okay, cool.
because it's kind of useful to know.
Mhm.
So the north node is kind of like the essential direction
Okay.
for soul growth.
Okay.
So so this house, so the house where the north node is basically is the area of life where this soul growth is best learned. You know, and yours north node is in this house, in the house of home.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's basically in Capricorn. So you will have to learn all the Capricornian things in order in how it expresses in order to grow in this area of your soul. So I put this here, some kind of also advices.
Yeah, cool.
And I want you to tell me if you relate to any of this. You know? So for example, I put here, find the balance between your masculine and feminine side. So have you ever given some thought about this kind of like both yin yang-ish energies?
Yeah. Not an awful lot really. Like I don't think I'm a very like masculine guy necessarily.
Yeah.
Although I guess I probably would.
This is because that this is no this is like this is you have by default a lot of feminine energy because your south node, which is the antithesis of the north node, in your past incarnation comes from Cancer.
Right.
And Cancer is the most nurturing moon-ish vibe.
Okay.
So it's urging you a little bit to put in touch to seek your masculinity. You know, your assertiveness.
Yeah.
It's kind of like. Also, for example, I put be brave when it comes to public life. You know.
Yeah. And I think that's a journey that I've already and I'm still going on. Yeah.
How do you feel this?
Yeah, I think it's like I'm just, like more and more comfortable with it.
Okay.
And somehow I think like
at the beginning of the interview you were like I was super shy.
Yeah, exactly.
As
a kid I was super
me,
shy.
You know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think like it's partly a thing of like learning yourself, right, as you grow older. But now, for example, like I still push myself.
You've been steered toward public life.
Yeah.
Like naturally, you.
Yeah.
I mean, naturally.
Yeah. But I think even more like it becomes more and more.
Yeah, totally, and it will become more and more. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because this is your north node. You know? It will keep coming back to you.
I see.
To show you, you know, here's you're putting yourself in. And life is putting yourself here in a public role position. Another one of those north node advices is if you want to grow, focus in the balance between family and career.
Okay,
interesting, right? Learn to be more cold-headed. You know, does it resonate a little bit?
What do you mean by cold-headed?
Cold-headed is not taking things too personal, maybe. You know, be more, because what you gain in life with your experience that you're learning, it's basically discernment. You know, so to not take things too personal, to be more impersonal about the universe. But that doesn't mean not to be uncaring. You know.
Right,
so I don't know. Also,
Yeah, no, no, makes sense.
let go of the fear of abandonment.
Mm-hmm.
Have you felt this in you? Like, that maybe. Because, like,
Mm.
with all the social vibe
Mm-hmm.
that is going on around your soul and your
Mm-hmm.
purpose, have you ever felt anxious about uh, being alone?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I think like I guess mostly from like moving a lot
Uh-huh.
and feeling like left out. I guess like so a lot. I mean, the majority of my friends, they didn't. I mean, they stayed in the UK, and most of them live in Bristol.
Okay.
And it's so I kind of every now and then I have a sort of I feel like I feel sad or I feel like I maybe left that behind. I mean, they left me behind. I don't know.
Okay.
It's some sort of separation.
With the notion of that, this kind of things, because like this is a thing, for people that move, because all of this, all of this literature saying, for example, oh, true friendship is the friendship that lasts through time, and you don't have to keep like connected to be friends, and all these things, I was like, at the beginning, I kind of like believed it, like so deep down, like, oh, my friends from there will always be my friends, and we always keep in touch, and no matter time, like the timing of the passing of the time, passes, you don't change that essence, and it's true at some point.
I think
But it's also true that friendship needs to be nurtured.
Right.
And
I think it's just like it's a choice that I made, and like I when I as soon as I see my friends, even though it's been years, which sometimes it goes that long without us seeing each other, but it is like immediately great again. I think that'll never go. No. But what is true is that like, I mean, these friends, like some of my oldest friends, they see each other like every day.
Yeah.
And I'm just not there. Like to that level.
Yeah.
And I guess I come to terms with that, and like, I guess in a way it just motivates me to be present here, it's like, and I've got like
to create that.
Yeah, exactly. I've got friends that I see every day, which is super nice, and like, it's not that I've put that my old friends sort of behind me and moved on. It's like I do both, and like I still put in a lot of effort also to try and visit often, to try and go to like big events, and so it's a balance, but
it's a balance. So it's not something that is like a fear thing anymore.
No, I don't think so. I think over the last few years, I sort of have come to terms with that as a decision. Yeah.
Good. So, for example, we're gonna go to house 5, which is connected to a little bit of your creative side. A little bit. So, house 5 is naturally house of Leo. It's naturally the house of the sun. But you have as a sign here Aquarius. Which is the opposite of Leo. And also you have a planet here called Saturn. And house 5 is the house of love also. It's the house of joy. It's the house. That's why it's the house of children. And it's the house of pleasure. It's the pleasurable things in life. And Saturn is a planet that gives structure to everything. It's the ruling of this Capricorn that I told you, which is like very. Time is the essence for you to grow. So having Saturn here could delay a little bit all this expression of the joyful things, and it makes you a little bit seek another job in your area of your hobbies. So that's why I was telling you about when you mentioned it. It was your Saturn talking like you said I kind of did another work of my hobby. So I want you to tell me how the RBL radio came about. You know.
So
I want you to talk about that specifically.
Yeah. So from quite young, I've been doing events basically. So first in Bristol Reggae Society, then we had a collective called All Tribes in Berlin, which was, we did, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 parties, and then slowly. I mean, I've always been into radio. I also had a radio show at college, and then also at university for a bit. And kind of through in Berlin, sort of socializing through the reggae scene, I met a guy who was part of the radio there, RBL, and he was telling me about it and stuff. And I always had this dream of having a radio show, so I got in contact and ended up getting a show there. In like 2020, and the radio. So originally it's from Torino, but a bunch of them had moved to Berlin and had set up a hub there.
So that sounds to me like it's kind of like a franchise.
Exactly. Okay. So it's like I mean,
good.
The people in Berlin were like very close to the ones in Torino.
Okay.
And then in Berlin I joined in 2020 just before COVID.
Okay.
So then COVID happened and everyone. Obviously, we couldn't meet up and stuff, so we were recording from home. And then in the sort of period after when COVID was coming out, it became like a really amazing social thing. So we had like one summer we had every weekend we had radio shows from this like beer garden, and it was like finally people could come out together again. It was like really joyful, and I was having my shows. I was inviting people down. Really enjoyed it. Met a lot of really lovely people. And then when I moved here, I was like, I didn't want to lose that. I didn't want to stop my show, and I also wanted the social side of it.
Yeah.
So I spoke to them in Berlin, and I sort of said, I'm moving to Barcelona. Like, maybe we could set up something there. And they liked the idea, and they talked to the people in Torino as well, who also liked the idea. Somehow, the timing was right. They wanted to kind of expand a bit more and have a new hub. And and then basically I was really lucky meeting so a friend of mine, Jan, who is come from Madrid and had been doing music stuff in Madrid, but not really anything here. So he was really keen to get involved. And actually, he pushed it at the beginning, like found Silver Discos, and then we did like an open call. It's people who wanted to be involved, and we just had the most amazing response. Like so many people coming forward, wanting to DJ, but also wanting to help out, and so we started.
Isn't that beautiful?
It was really nice.
Isn't that beautiful? Like that because like I don't think I have experienced it in like that kind of way, but like you sometimes when you are in the creative process and then you call out how you realize how many people were listening to you. You know, like it gets a little real.
Exactly. It gets a little and real. It was like from the start it was sort of clear that it would be a lot of work. And then we needed lots of people, and so like we did it kind of properly, I guess. Like we really did and we had a lot of support from Berlin and Torino. But it was really it's been really amazing, and like we're now just like 2.5 years old, I guess, in Barcelona. And it's really a really big community, super friendly, lots of lovely people.
Do the Berlin and Torino like do they have like guidelines, like general guidelines?
There was sort of they were discovering the process.
Okay. Also.
Also, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's somehow everywhere is different as well. Like
So it gave you creative freedom.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
They were super supportive, but they kind of said, "Go on,
Okay.
do your own thing."
Okay.
And yeah, and we still are figuring out. I mean, we work together on many aspects. Like we share obviously the website, and this summer actually we're gonna have a workshop in Barcelona. So we've got people coming from Berlin and Torino.
Great.
It's an experiment. It's a
Love
big
it.
experiment, and somehow.
Love it.
Yeah, it works out, but it's mainly because of a lot of driven people that are really
supporting
invest,
it. Yeah, invested, supporting it. Yeah. I love it. Love it. So, okay. Yeah. I mean, to finish this house, tell you a little bit that Aquarius, it's basically the sign involved in everything community related.
Okay.
So your expression of your creativity, in your fun, in your joy, is not. It's linked to community concept.
Yeah.
You know, it wouldn't. It's not. It's not. It's not about you.
Yeah.
It's about us.
Yeah. Right.
You know, and so, and I think, kind of like your chart, just shows that through your life and what you have done. You know, because like, it's just it couldn't be any other way basically.
Yeah.
You know, it's just that it's kind of like the way of me saying for people that are always so like skeptic of all this thing. It's how am I putting here, and it just relates.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, definitely.
And for example, I want to go to the 11th house, which is the house of community, because it's the house ruled by Aquarius. The house of community and friends and humanity. You know, the betterment of like, it's a communicational house. You know, since Aquarius is a communicational sign, and you have as a sign there Virgo, which is the very hardworking sign, very meticulous. So you express on your community friend's house how this energy of how can I be at service to you.
Yeah.
You know, you're very keen on to be at service of this thing.
Yeah.
You know? And you have here as a planet the planet Jupiter. And the planet Jupiter is basically linked to travel. It's linked to new cultures. It's linked to expansion.
Okay.
And it's a lucky planet. You know, it expands everything it touches. So basically, wherever Jupiter is in your chart, it's the house that's gonna be more abundance.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
And it's the house of community, basically. Yeah. So it says also here that everything it's that breaks the norm in this community area kind of like excites you. So I want you to tell me about this feeling of what do you feel and what do you think is the way we as humans should evolve. What is the key to our evolvement, betterment in to you know, because this is the house that is preoccupied with the community that we are learning. What things what things feel outdated to you, for example? What way of doing things feel outdated to you?
Yeah.
And in whatever is your realm of expressing yourself in the world. So I want you to give me like clues that you have been think of, that you as a person have channeled in this area.
Yeah.
Tell me.
I think so. Like one thing, I mean, I've always lived in like cities, right? And big cities, and I mean, Bristol is smaller, but it's still large enough.
Still big,
yeah, it's still big enough. And I think it's like super important.
Mm-hmm.
Like culturally, I
Mhm.
feel like a lot, like people have lost
Mm-hmm.
aspects of community.
Mm-hmm.
When you're young, you have it because you're seeing lots
You're
of different
dependent.
people at, in the school, or
Mhm.
like these things brings people together.
Yeah.
University,
Mm.
and then slowly you sort of see people growing up and maybe losing that part of their life,
Mhm.
especially in cities, because
Mhm.
in smaller towns, villages,
Mhm.
you have you know everyone and stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
In a city, you can easily get lost,
Mhm.
and so I think it's really important to like nurture community living locally in cities,
Mhm.
and I think it's super nice when it works, when you have that,
Mhm.
and often it revolves around a space.
Okay.
And yeah, we need good spaces for this. So like in the UK, it can like often it's like a pub or something that's very that everyone goes to, and you just know that you go there, you'll bump into people. And yeah, in Barcelona, I think Salva Discos is doing a really good job at this. And this is obviously where the radio is based. So we have a big community based around the radio, but also like Salva Discos and the people that come. And I really, for me, it's super important to have those spaces. And I always like look out for people trying to do that. Because it's not easy as well. I mean, I think to run a community space is a big undertaking, and it's maybe not very profitable, and like but
it's
I
maybe
hope this
because it's maybe because, like you said, we kind of like in a big city have lost a little bit that sense of the community.
Yeah, of knowing each
So
other.
it's an
and
effort. You know,
It's an effort, but
It's an effort.
it's really worth it, and I like, I always love that idea of just like having a space you can go to. You know people.
Yeah.
You know you're gonna bump into people.
Yeah.
There's no need to like meet
set up a
with-
meeting.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. It's just like you just
That's how
go
I feel
down
it.
and
That's why I like.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that is essential for your growth.
Yeah.
And to have that, it's like a blessing that you should never take for granted, because you put yourself in that situation also.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but the people who creates it, it has. It's kind of like, I'm very grateful.
Yeah, it's a service. Yeah,
it's a service. It's
Yeah.
a service to the community.
Mhm.
I mean, to create community, it's a service, you know.
Yeah.
And I feel that it should be valued by everyone.
Yeah, definitely.
It should be valued by everyone, you know. It's especially, you know, by, and that's what this is what the level I wanted to get with the question, because we are ruled by some system.
Yeah.
That I feel it's kind of like outdated.
Yeah.
Because they make it makes them hard for these people.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
when the police comes, for example, and fines you for whatever, or the police says, "Oh no, you cannot be here outside sharing because this is not a place," and people just want to go out and create this thing, and
Which
they don't
healthy.
let them because they haven't like paid or have made like permission. You know, it's like it should be encouraged.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
No, it's unfortunate. And Barcelona is a very interesting one, because I think in some ways it's very in touch with this idea. Like I love that like there's all these Ateneos and like there's lots of stuff that's done on a community basis, the festas. It feels like each neighborhood has its own community, and this is amazing, but it's somehow there's like gatekeepers there. I mean, it's hard to break into that, and it's if you're not doing it within those systems that are there, then you get shut down.
Exactly.
Right? Like
so basically, you agree. You agree that, for example, it should be encouraged. By everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone.
And I mean, this is unfortunately, this is somehow you have to battle with the system. I mean, we've just become an association as well, and somehow like the part of the mission is to deal with all that like paperwork and crap, and so that then everyone can enjoy it. Unfortunately, it's there's, especially with like sound restrictions, it's super strict.
Was the become an association like you said we have been battled. It's like it feels like a battle,
it's not easy.
right?
It's not easy.
It's not easy. It's like they don't hand it to you.
No,
you know?
no. It's very like there's lots of things you have to do. It's like it's somehow a bit of a challenge, and part of that is also like with language barriers in Catalan and stuff. But I think it's possible.
Yeah.
It's just hard.
So maybe we are evolving because like we as a humanity in like astrologically, for example, archetypally, we are going into the age of Aquarius. We are like transitioning into the age of Aquarius. So we are going into the age of communications. We are going into the age of community. We are in the process of understanding that we are us, basically. And the only way to be save the planet is to we all go take care of of us in order to take care of the planet. You know, and we all have to like swim in the same direction. You know, it's not anymore a thing about me or my status, because like before was the age of like Capricorn-ish. So it was like all about like career, goals, and like status and all these things. And now people are gonna start to unfold all this energy of community and us and like swimming on the same side of the river, you know, in order to preserve some kind of balance, you know. Understand that if you cut a tree in Brazil, it affects Barcelona. You know, it's not like, oh, we can take this thing out of here and like not replenish. Exactly. You know. So in order to do that, we need global communication. You know, because we need to be able to like see eye to eye, talk eye to eye, and it's all about language and translating and all these things. So we will evolve into understanding that we can also communicate a lot without words.
That's good.
Good. No, I feel. Do you agree?
I hope so. Yeah. I mean,
do you feel that we are in kind of like this questioning?
It needs to be like definitely things need to change. So I think and a lot of people are motivated to change. So like I do find like inspiring.
Good.
But I'm also a little bit pessimistic. I mean, it's hard.
No, I understand. Okay, so we're gonna go to the last part. This is the moon. The moon. So, the moon. Look, there's the moon. The moon. So, astrology considers the moon to be your major liability.
Okay.
Especially when you're in your 30s, you know, when you start to get into because it's an energy that needs to be expression, you know, it's an energy that you have to get in touch with, because it's basically your shadow. It represents your shadow, and psychology represents your shadow. Okay, so you gotta take control over it, because your shadow, it's always the part that you kind of hide from everyone else, but it's also a part that makes you feel comfortable. So for example, when people are very, have you heard the expression, oh, you're shading me. So you basically, shading is like you're projecting what you want to be or you want to do in a negative way on someone else. You know? So it's basically represents our needs, our wants, our cravings, and our changing emotions in our bodies, because the lunar cycle is so close to us. You know, it rules water, and we're like more than 50% water. Everything has water in it. So it just puts into material things and into your actions what your sun wants. You know, That's why it's illuminated by the sun. But it doesn't get any practicality or aliveness without the moon.
I see.
You know, that's why you have to integrate that
Uh-huh.
shadow stuff. You know, and it reflects the light of the sun in your life's purpose. You know, it reflects it because if if the sun shines it, the moon reflects it.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, so you are very, like, we all are very in touch with our moons, and we always see it, and but it's usually the part that we don't accept easily.
Okay.
You know, because it's crazy because it's so inner, and it's so, like, it's kind of like the little voice sometimes in your head, you know, that you try to, like, silence a little bit sometimes, you know, believing that, oh, this I shouldn't put out, you know. So it kind of like tells you how you live your purpose in the physical realm, you know, because it rules emotions. So it's like it's always expressing itself, and if you, like, hide it, it just it does terrible things because you will only express it because it will come out anyway. So you will only express it while you're angry, or when you are shading someone, or when you get some kind of crisis, you know. And that is the importance, you know. It's a really big thing. It's also connected, it's very well connected to your parenting style, you know, how you were parents, you know, because also it gives you a feelings of how you like to be taken care of, you know. So it's this part, and you have, like, a very interesting moon. You know, your moon is in the 8th house.
Okay.
And is in the sign of Taurus.
Okay.
So we're gonna go, like, unveil a little bit of this. So the 8th house is the house that deal with death, the experience of death. You know, the transfiguration. It doesn't. It could be taking. I mean, you know that death is part of everything. Everything dies. Everything changes. You know, and that's why it's an ever-changing concept. You know, it's all around us. You know, it's that concept of renewal. You know, so is death and rebirth is everything related, for example, to psychology, you know, to the transformation of the mind, to the inquisitiveness of we have to go through how the mind works, you know, and the soul, you know. And it's related to sex, for example, as in a transformational experience. It's the house naturally ruled by Scorpio, you know, and you have Taurus, which is the antithesis of, like, complementary opposites of Scorpio. So, like, Taurus is not happy, you know, because Taurus is a bull that is an earth sign, and it deals with what material things do I do with what I have, you know. So it's ruled by Venus also, and it's kind of like, how can I serve my life's purpose beautifully, but it's very oriented in a material way. I have to see it. It's there, you know. I have to build it. So your style of moon expressing, it's in a Taurus way, you know. It's putting out something that's material, that you can touch, that you can be in. Like, this is the expression of my taking care of myself also. And it's a little bit stubborn. So it's stubborn, like a little bit black and white. And that house of the eighth house, it's all about the gray. So for example, a question that comes to mind with this thing is, for example, have first, if did you felt, well, you talked a little bit this before, but did you felt, for example, when you were little, that one of your parents was a little bit kind of like strict
Mm-hmm. Um.
in a way, in some way, kind of like no, these things are this way, and like I'm looking for you in this sense, and
Yeah.
you can do whatever you want, but don't break these rules.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was always so. My parents,
Mm-hmm.
neither of them are, I would say, are strict in the traditional sense. So
Mhm.
like, they're both very calm people.
They're Taurus.
Yeah. So, but they like, it was always like they cared a lot, obviously. And I think they
Quietly caring.
yeah, exactly. And so I was aware that they
You were aware.
I was aware that they care, and somehow, as long as I was like, I think there would have been issues, and that, so my sister had issues with them in terms of her behavior and stuff. And so I was always well behaved as a kid, and I had a sort of, I mean, yeah.
But your sister is older than you?
Sister's older, yeah.
So okay.
And I was always getting good grades, and
Okay.
that was kind of like, yeah. I always had a feeling that
where did
it
you
was
knew
fine.
that you needed to behave like that? How did you?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was like a. Yeah, it was. I mean, it was like a.
Was when you were little, like 4, you were quiet?
Yeah, I was just quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah, timid, quiet.
Oh.
And yeah, always. I guess always like quite well behaved.
Was it an element, for example, of like vigilance that you felt, for example?
Yeah, I don't. Not really.
No?
I mean, it's kind of because I don't think my parents like instilled that
Okay.
really at all.
So they're pretty calm.
They're really calm.
They're really
and
calm
like,
and chill. You know.
Yeah.
What was your mom, for example, or your dad, like they wanted to like they love cooking, for example. They do like.
Yeah, my mom would cook, and my dad would cook every now and then, and I would generally sort of help out, and yeah, I never felt that pressurized really, but I was like, I was sort of aware that I was doing well at school and stuff, and if I wasn't, then maybe that would have been an issue, but yeah, my parents are always just happy to see me succeed. Yeah.
Okay. For example, the moon here when the moon is in Taurus, the moon is exalted also because it's Taurus. It's a feminine sign, feminine energy. It deals with like earth, you know, and nature, you know. For example, and it deals with building also bonds, you know, and like, did you have like I was asking you in these traits of like building bonds and like nurture and like be calm and like and have patience also were somehow like part of your taking care of in a way, you know.
Yeah.
And do you get, for example, some feedback that you might be a support system for others? Because you told me that once that you were kind of like good at listening, and when your friends had like issues, they would come to you. Do you feel fine in that role?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's comfortable for you.
Yeah. I'm happy if I can help.
Okay, good. Go.
Yeah.
So, it's never at your own expense.
No.
Okay, good. So, also, because like Taurus is a sign that is also perceived as grounded and strong, you know, and you don't feel that comes with a like people perceiving you as grounded and like strong. Sometimes they forget a little bit about what are your needs. Have you ever felt that? You know?
Yeah, I think.
Have you been in touch with this sense of like, you know, maybe I'll be like vulnerable. Maybe I need, for example, to like vent out some of my shit too, you know.
Yeah.
And have you experienced it? And do you repeating? Is it an exercise for you? Is it like something that you have maybe recently start to do? You know.
Yeah, I think I traditionally I would
Mhm.
be very like not really coming from anyone else, but I would personally just suppress that. But yeah, I think I've realized. I mean, I have friends that I now know that I can talk to about and these sort of things, and like I know where to look for that kind of thing.
Okay. Okay.
And more, like I think my relationship is very healthy in that sense as well. So like, I feel like I also like, yeah, I have that opportunity.
So there's like this experience of realizing that has helped you.
Yeah, 100%.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, you have a friend in me for that too if you want. Like I'm open to it. Not really. Okay. So for example, we talked about the traits of this moon here, and I talked to you about the philosophy of death a little bit. So I want to know what is your personal, particularly inner perspective on death, on how what happens when the soul leaves the body.
Yeah.
As a moon in Taurus that you are in the 8th house, I want to know, because I want to know, what do you think about that? Have you ever thought about it? Tell me, what is your thoughts on this thing?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I haven't thought much about it. Okay. So, I'm not religious. I don't necessarily.
You don't have to think it could be the first thing that comes into your head now.
Yeah. But I mean, my sort of like, it feels like an end to me.
Okay.
Like a real
end
line on the
Okay,
end.
like when you, for example, are like super asleep and don't hear about any noise.
Yeah. Just done.
Done.
But I mean, that's obviously like scary.
It scares you.
Yeah, I think so. So I don't know whether, I don't know whether I, over time, when I feel thankfully a long way from, I don't think about death that often. Yeah. But if I have to think about it more, which will undoubtedly happen, then maybe I will find a way to, maybe I will think of it differently.
Okay. I want to unpack that a little bit of this. Because if it scares you, if the thought of like this being over forever, you know, and your consciousness is gone, you know, what do you think? Because what do you do with fear? You know, I mean, do you agree that one of the purpose of our human experience and life itself is to lose fear?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so if you are fearful of what comes next, do you think, for example, does it feel like real? Because I'm projecting here because I feel that what I'm saying is, if the last moment of of your life brings fear, it means that it shouldn't be this. It's not that way. Because what's on the other side of fear. Yeah. It's just everything else.
Yeah.
So there's something deep down inside me that doesn't believe that. You know, doesn't believe that because it makes no sense.
Yeah.
You know, it makes no sense because like, why would I be, if my sole purpose of this life is to not be fearful of anything, you know? This makes no sense.
Yeah, I think I don't know, I come to some like, it scares me now because it's like it's something that I haven't confronted.
Okay. Exactly. Perfect.
And then at some point I think I will confront and come to terms with it.
Okay. So for example, yeah. So I think, for example, that, have you ever had psychological, emotional intense crisis in your life that you have like had to deal with?
Thankfully, nothing like so
Okay.
bad.
No
Yeah.
transformative, like so big.
Not really. No. Like I'm aware of. So
Mhm.
my granddad had like Alzheimer's.
Okay.
So it's something that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Like, and I'm kind of careful of my own mental energy. So
Okay.
I'm sort of like if I see myself becoming anxious or
Mhm.
like I change things, and I don't know, I'm fairly sort of in tune, and that has come, you know, over time. Like as a kid, I don't think I had that, and I would get sort of more anxious, more depressed, more or like
Okay.
socially more paranoid, things like this. But over time, I've kind of learned how to deal with those feelings, or to help myself in that way.
So, for example, I wanna know if in the back of your mind, through all these years, have you ever had an image of yourself that you haven't fully expressed, and that what would this like image would be?
That's interesting.
Describe a picture, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of myself.
Yeah. It's like, for example, I can tell you mine. I mean, for example, my moon is in Leo, and I always, I have, I'm hands on in like practicing and developing my singing abilities. Because I've always wanted to like keep doing it and like be good at it. You know, I, whatever the world's take me with this, I'll do it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So there's a picture of me in my mind that's related to all this vibe.
Yeah.
I want to know if you have had something sort of like that. Of course, it's been expressed. You know.
Yeah.
It's been expressed through your life. You know. So, what picture would that be archetypally? You know, that you see it and you like reference and keep and keep nurturing. Also, you have to keep nurturing.
Yeah. I mean, for a long time, and I think still, this would be like coming from my work. So like to have some big impact in that world, in the world of maths, academia.
Really?
I always had this romantic idea of it.
Okay.
But somehow, I mean, that's now more. I think sort of as a dream, it still exists, and I still find it motivating. But like part of like being more chill and okay with not overworking myself and stuff like that is coming to terms with the fact that might not be the case, because it's rare, right? It's like to really have a proper impact is super rare.
I mean, maybe. I mean,
to the level
it comes when you're satisfied with it, you know. I mean, you will know
exactly, and I am satisfied with what I do. But I mean, I never know. Like at some point, I hope still to have some big breakthrough. That would be
a breakthrough. Do you know the area of this breakthrough? Like, do you know specifics? Have you like?
I mean, I think about like hard stuff all the time. Because if I can do it, then it's big. But there's like I kind of know that really it's very unlikely that it'll work. But it's worth still thinking about it. It's this kind of weird it's a weird thing that we do. Like you have to spend time thinking about it, because otherwise no one's ever going to do it. But it's it feels like a waste of time at the same time, because you don't really get any results. So I think it's kind of a bit of both. It's every now and then I like to dream, and this is what I
do. Well, I mean, and this realization of this like accomplishment, you know. What is the consequence of this accomplishment in your head?
It's I guess it's the competitiveness. It's like respect on another level. It's kind of and also just the pride, I guess. Like it's sort of something that like when people talk about their life's work or whatever, this is something that I've been doing all my life.
Your
So
transcendence.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, and it's something leaving behind.
It's
right?
like that materiality you were like building and talking
Yeah.
about, like
Right.
bringing it out
leaving behind
and
something
leaving
that's
behind.
like a legacy.
Okay.
This is
No,
this
this
is something
this
that
is
I
very
kind of,
this is very linked to also like the experience of death. Lots of people dream about like leaving a legacy.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
this will be. I don't care what comes next.
yeah,
Basically, I care about why do I
What
leave?
I
Where
left
do I
behind.
leave behind?
yeah. This is something.
Okay, this is beautiful and a lovely way to end on this note. You know, I'm really because I don't know. For me, my legacy means shit. You know? So it's really good to have someone who thinks that's
Let's
a
see.
beautiful thing. You
Let's
know, I know. Thank you, darling.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Thank you.
It's been great.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm so
I really enjoyed
happy.
it.
I'm so blessed that we started a new season. This is one of my dreams. So thanks everyone for listening. Thanks for coming. I hope you get something out of it.
Yeah, it was great.
And I don't know. See you everyone in the next video. Bye bye.